as an Asian leading beverage producer known for their comprehensive portfolio and wide distribution network, but also they are known for their strong ESG records. For example, being the first in Asia to be recognized in Dow Jones Sustainability Index and a long history of sustainable reporting. However, to remain as an ESG leader, Thai-Best must continue to adapt to gain the operational leverage from improving financial performance, enhancing investor trust, and strengthening their operational risk. But how exactly would they do that? There are two key steps that they need to take. First, identify in which business units that can be enhanced by ESG, as well as how do they seamlessly integrate ESG into existing business model to unlock new values for sustainable futures. We can begin by the first questions to identify which area. According all the supply chains, 5 areas and 4 key considerations: leverage, the impact of the footprints, the urgency, control, financial upside. We can see that distributions and marketing are our second priorities for now, as they are slower to scale and not the biggest footprint driver, and therefore we should focus on something that we have in control of. But in terms of productions, we already have a lot of strong initiative, and although it drives a lot of footprints, therefore production should be something that Thai-Best already been doing and does not add incremental values to us, which left us with sourcing and post-consolidation as an area that we could focus on to strengthen current initiative addressing existing gaps. For example, in sourcing their scope 3 emissions and recovery rates that have not been achieved in post-consumptions. With our goals to embed sustainability into our current business model, we propose to use strength in 3, where we cut scope 3 and reduce ESG risk by supplier tiering and improve post to boost PET recovery rate. With our strategies, we can proudly say that we would achieve 235 million TH baht NPV and be able to reduce carbon dioxide by 20,000 tons by 2027. Now, since we identified which area we would like to improve, the question is how do we seamlessly integrate ESG into the business model? I'll pass it on to Pat.
So, building on our Sustain with Purpose strategy, we introduce you Strengthen Pre and Improve Post. For Strengthen Pre, I will walk you through the strategy which will encourage suppliers at the sourcing level to have lower ESG risk. We start off by leveraging Thai-Best existing classified tier list systems, which they classify as low risk, medium risk, and high risk. Since scope 3 emissions are the highest concentration of the total emissions, having the supplier risk to reduce will be the fastest and most effective lever for Thai-Best. Digging deeper into the data, supplier ESG risk assessment result in 2024. Out of 416 significant suppliers assessed in 2024, 209 suppliers remain classified as medium or high ESG risk and have not yet achieved the low risk status. Digging deeper, construction suppliers represent the largest concentration of medium and high ESG risk within Thai-Best supplier base. In this segment, is categorized by using the high use of diesel machineries and old equipment. Construction suppliers will be prioritized as the next initial focus segment for ESG transformation. Today, we introduce you Bundle Green Equipment Program. Today, a middle-sized heavy equipment contractor with the ESG score around 60 to 65, placing them in a medium to high risk ESG. The current issue is aging and inefficient equipment, increasing carbon emissions, operating costs, safety risk, and reduces overall productivity and quality. What we do is we centralize bulk purchasing to accelerate contractor equipment upgrades, leveraging Thai-Best scale to aggregate contractor demand, and negotiate bulk price and preferential financing for green equipment. This lowers upfront investment barriers, accelerates equipment renewal, reduce ESG risk, and improve supplier productivity and cost efficiency. The next step for this is what industry we should focus next to do the bundle green equipment program. From the attractiveness of the industry, we choose to use the logistics and fleet to prioritize on the next industry. The next one we do is financing green loan for low risk and medium risk supplier. What suppliers will get is lower interest and manageable repayments, easier access to modern equipment, improved operational efficiency, and lower operation cost. What partner of the bank we will use? From the criteria of green loan capability, interest rate, and appetite, we choose Group C as the preference in green loan capability and risk appetite. With higher risk appetite, we enable faster credit approval for mid-risk contractors, which we have a lot of middle risk suppliers in for Thai Waves, which we will have competitive in maintaining financing cost. This is a win-win strategy as what banks look for a strong ESG alignment, reliable repayment and credit visibility, and diversified scalable portfolio. And what Thai Waves can provide is classified screened supplier risk, stable demand and revenue visibility, and data transparency and performance monitoring. Next, I'll pass the mic to Paper to introduce you to second strategy.
Okay, thank you, Pat. And next, moving on to second strategy, which is improve post. We try to focus more on the post-consumption process by optimizing value of PET bottle to gain more revenue and also the sustainability. So let's take a look on the post-consumption performance of Thai Bev from last year. So we're seeing that aluminum and also the glass bottle also show a strong retrieval rate above 100%. While PET bottle also remains same at 35%. So this from two main reasons, which is the first, Thailand recycling relies heavily on the informal sector, and the second one is PET is economically less attractive compared to the two other products. With this coming to the question then how and what the methods that Thailand should implement to effectively collect PET bottle while also incentivize the consumer. So let's take a look on the supply chain. So we're seeing that in the collection process, there also have overlooked and weak incentivized. So this should address into this gap to cover up and can improve the collection process. So over the three criteria, which is the collection quality, behavioral effectiveness, and also scalability, we have to choose that we're gonna deprioritize three initiatives, and Thai Bev should opt for recycling machine. And for this, we can improve the way that we collect more PET bottle. So Thai Bev can acquire the recycling machines through partnership with Sustaintech, and we can pilot 10 recycling machines through MRT station and also 4 main key areas. And then for the process, first the consumer will insert an empty PET bottles into the recycling machine. Then the machine will verify and sort out the contaminated bottle that consumer can also put into the separated bin. After finish the process, consumer can also choose that they whether want to donate the points to the CSR project of Thai Bev, or they can also redeem it and can use at Big C. And then after we collect all of the bottle, they're gonna go to two processes, which is the bottle can go to CSR project or can be reproduced and be resold at manufacturer process. But that depends on the quality of the bottles, with its clean, defect, and contaminated PET bottle. So first, the unclean PET bottle gonna go through the process and we can recycle to the CSR project. Then for the clean PET bottle, we can transform it into the pallets and we can use into the whether they can be to be the new future packaging or we can resell it. And then this will not only help our consumer know more and learn about recycling habits, but also improve our financial and environmental impact. Next, I will pass on to the finance.
For this strategy to come to life, Thai Bev first act is to ensure and connect, to form the partnership between the banks, the ESG network, and our suppliers to start the supplier transformation by 2027. And second is to ensure the capability of the recycling facility to start the production of PET collection from the 2026. After implementing our strategy, Thai Bev we want to reduce a total of 90,000 tons of carbon through 5 years with 23,000 in 2030.
Thank you, team, for your presentation. We will now move on to a 20 minutes Q&A session with the judges.
The time cards shown will be at 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, and 1 minute. The judges, you may begin whenever you're ready.
Can you go back to the slide where there is a chart which says on supplier ESG risk assessment and strategy 1? Yeah, that one. Can you explain a little bit? What is it?
So this is the existing supplier assessment result in 2024, which Thai-based is the one who exists that, which categorized into 3 groups: low ESG risk, medium, and high risk. That's from the pie chart.
Yeah, but
Then-
then like, what is each, red, what is that?
Red is high risk supplier, and yellow is medium risk supplier. So this is the proportion of the supplier.
Okay, got it. So, in terms of construction, right, what types of construction activities are ThaiBev doing?
So the construction suppliers are involves small and big construction, which involves construction of warehouse, factory, or even small water pipes is classified as constructions.
Okay, and in the past, maybe like 5 years, do you know how much construction ThaiBev has been doing?
For 5 years past, Thailand has been. I think that construction is a big part for Thailand because they are increasing. There are company expansion, so I think there have been a lot of construction in the past years.
Okay, I see. Specifically in construction, maybe in the medium to high, right? ESG assessment, risk assessment. Construction itself is very big, like what you said. There's warehouse, there's pipes. Do you have like a breakdown from which activities these ESGs are high? Because construction, there's many types of contractors, right? And they use different materials. Some such as like, I don't know, maybe like pipes, PVC, those, they have a certain standard. And concrete has a certain standard. So do you have like a breakdown on which these, high risk and medium risk, like what are these?
I can have the example of the machines that create like high risk in ESGs. For example, like diesel excavation, which is used in almost every construction, such as like warehouse.
You mean like heavy machinery? Right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so let's say, for example, you want to help ThaiBev have like a better sustainability score from construction, which you say is based off the emissions from the heavy equipment. What is the solution for this then?
The solution for this is having a bundle green equipment program, which the issues is like the fragmented suppliers have no incentive to change their machines into the greener one for alternative greener solutions, which what we do is that we can negotiate the price for the suppliers to have like lower price.
But then change to what? Change.
For example, diesel excavation to hybrid or electric excavation, which reduce the carbon emissions when used.
So why would they do that? Because these heavy machinery, they buy it, they use for like decades. It's like a huge investment cost. Like what is the reason that they should be buying these machineries? Which I don't know, maybe they buy it and they plan to use for like 20 to 30 years, right? Why should they suddenly just change?
So for ESG performance is obviously it's important for Thai-based, but some of the suppliers may not have this incentivized. So we use the incentive as the machines will be in a lower price, and for the suppliers, if they have the good performance in ESG, we can let them be the the highest shares among suppliers will incentivize them more to have the performance in ESG if they change their machines.
Can you go back to the ESG high medium risk? Yeah. Right now, I believe these numbers refer to individual suppliers, right? Like 66 construction suppliers are high risk and this and that. But in the end, you're not trying to make every single supplier perfect. You're looking from your perspective, which is in terms of the carbon emissions in tons of CO2 equivalent. So if you do have the data, let us know in terms of the share of emissions that come from these individual types of contractors or suppliers. If you don't, what would your educated guess be in terms of the share of construction or agricultural commodity or food ingredients or animal products and things like that?
So
Petrochemicals.
to answer your question, from the data we have, we can see we received that the emission that created from these high and medium risk company is accounting for 90% of the total carbon emission from the supplier.
So the red and the yellow are 90%.
Yeah.
Why? Why do you think that 150 construction suppliers account for the emissions? What are these emissions?
I believe it's mainly heavy machineries that, as my colleagues has mentioned, since a lot of these construction sites have the data that one heavy machinery produce around 160 something tons of CO2 per year. So I believe that's the majority that makes a lot of emissions.
But it's a one-time thing per construction project, this and that. But ThaiBev then has to procure aluminum, procure glass, procure water, procure the raw materials, and that's ongoing and in very, very high quantities. Wouldn't most of the emissions come from these recurring sources rather than one-time construction projects?
I mean, it's not really a one-time construction project because construction in this means like every small or big construction, but for the most concentration, it's come from the heavy constructions.
Yes, which is a one-time project. You build a factory, you use it for 20 years, 30 years. That's what I mean by one time.
I believe some activities that we can give to our suppliers other than changing the heavy machineries with diesels, we can offer them the renewable energy solution where we can maybe partner or connect with the renewable energy plants such as solar farms or and stuff like that to sell them the clean energy.
Okay. My next question, also related to this, is ThaiBev is not the only beverage player or big company in Thailand that has to reduce their greenhouse gas scope 3 emissions on the supplier side. On the other hand, all of these suppliers also aren't the only suppliers supplying to ThaiBev. They also supply to other big players. They construct factories and pipes and supply ingredients and materials to many, many players. Why are you doing it as if you're the only player in the country and these are the only suppliers in the country?
We believe the way that the mechanic that we do that is that we can give the ensure guarantee contracts that we will that they will serve us in these volumes to ensure that the majority of their productions will come to us and that we will help them or incentivize them to change.
I don't understand.
Is that to ensure the volume that they will produce for us, or like the number of projects that okay, for example, a company have 10 projects like a year.
Yeah.
So if we have another project, we will use you as our contractor, for example, and in exchange that we will have to invest to change your company into a more renewable.
Is that risky that you're cutting down the number of suppliers you have? Is it risky to cut down the number of suppliers you have and only work with a few? Shouldn't it be a competitive process? You should be doing competitive tender, use the power of competition to see who can offer the best, cleanest possible proposal of goods, of construction projects, and this and that.
We believe it's a trade-off to make this construction convert into renewable.
Okay, then you still haven't fully answered my question, so I continue. ThaiBev invest a lot in their sustainability expo. They hold a gigantic expo with 300,000 attendees. They create these communities, these learning hubs. They are involved in the supplier network and all of that. Why on earth would they invest millions and millions of baht in all these things? Why are they doing it?
We believe they're doing it to stay leading in terms of scope 3 emissions, since those will improve in the scope 1 and also the other part of ESG, but we believe in this part they are still missing. So
It's a way for them to go into the whole scope 3 emissions by working with other competitors, other partners to help reduce scope 3 emissions, because they end up using the same suppliers. They're all part of the same economy. So your strategy right now is very specific, working on individual suppliers within your thing. If you were to improve or expand further on your strategy by incorporating these communities, do you have any specific initiatives on top of your mind on how you can involve the wider supply chain network in Thailand that Thai Bev is leading and all of this to achieve your missions even faster or even more effectively?
Okay, sitting on top of my mind right now for initiatives, I believe we can partner with some other distributors such as other Thai Bev to form like I would say funding, like for suppliers that want to change and ready to change, and will offer their production to the partner companies, such as, for example, if Thai Bev partner with CP to form like some sort of funding that will allow suppliers to like, if you want to change, you can use this funding, but in exchange you have to like bring protection to us.
Just for the first strategy, right? So would like to understand more on the numbers, or like what quantify the impacts of like what Thai Bev would get from partnering with banks, doing all those things, apart from trying to like reduce the scope 3 emission. It seems like they're doing a lot of work on this. Not so sure we have any monetary impacts on this.
We believe we expect that the main impacts from the first strategy is to reduce the scope 2 emissions. But in exchange, we might get some tax reduction from the scope 2 emission that we'll be able to reduce.
So financing pre-load is like more of a long-term strategy.
So you haven't really quantified the impact
Well,
or the benefit of Thai Bev, right?
Oh, okay. So to answer the question, we have quantified the impacts. So the cost reduction in total from the tax we want to reduce is around 150 million.
And I think we showed the number of the revenue, 156 million increase in revenue, right? Not so sure if it's the revenue or is it what
It's
kind of
a cost reduction.
Oh, it's a cost reduction. You think it's worth doing though? Only 156 million Thai baht. And it's in 2030, right? Accumulated.
Yes, accumulated.
Yeah. So please walk through the justification of doing all those things. It doesn't seem like it's worth it,
Okay, so the justification is
So I mean, the strategy is not prioritized on doing the revenue, but it's more like a long-term strategy for ESG growth, as we can partner with banks to finance for low to medium, so we can attract more of a low-risk suppliers for us. So it's more like not generating revenue as a priority for this strategy.
But is it worth the effort of doing it?
I think it's worth the effort because it's a win-win strategy for both bank and for us, and for the long-term growth of ESG. We can now buy the equipment for a greener or for alternative that is going to be harder for a long term.
So you're targeting the construction, right? And then the secondary target is the logistics, right?
No, exactly. The first strategy is bundle the equipment. We set the priority It's not specifically for construction.
It's for
It's for overall suppliers which categorized as middle to low ESG risk.
You want to say something?
Oh, I mean like to add on to my colleague. So that means for the bundle green equipment, we have categorized in terms of industry. Like for example, we give the first priority to the construction and then the logistics. However, for the finance scheme loan risk segment, invited risk. Yeah, basically like the medium and low risk.
Okay. Just want to understand the second strategy a bit more. So I understand there's a gap in the PT model, right? But then just can you explain the scalability and goal of the strategy? Is it like what's doing it? You're doing it by yourself? How the impact would show for the overall group?
Okay, so now we see that the two type of product, which is the glass and aluminum, they already achieved that goal. However, we see the gap in the PET bottle. And if you look on the packaging value chain, so we see that we can acquire more in terms of the PET bottle. Since now it's just it is the open loop system, which is they rely more on the informal sector, for example, like the garbage truck or the scavenger, so that can leak into the other company or whatever. So this make us still have the same level of the reusable rate. And then in terms of getting this, we can also we can also use in terms of the back end process, which is we can also switch it into the CSR project. They also doing that. And we can also resell it as a new PET bottle.
So the machine is solely invested by Thailand, right?
Okay, and for acquiring the machine, we want to partner with Sustainatech. The Sustainatech is the startup company that doing the recycling machine in Thailand. So by partnering with them, we see that
by partnering, like investing in them, or not so sure. What do you mean by partnering with Sustainatech?
Okay, by partnering with them, we just can give them the so normally the business model of Sustainatech, they acquire the bottle, right, and then they turn to the plastic flake, and then they just sell to the other manufacturer or whatever. So we partnering with them, we do not invest in them, but we want to share the proportion in terms of the plastic flake to them, because we can also give exposure more to the brand, which is the Sustainatech, and since we have the value that align in terms of want to create awareness in terms of sustainability to Thai people, so that what we mean by partnering with them.
I still don't get it. What would Thailand get?
I'll add on to what I was saying. So by investing in whatever Chrissy said, Sustainatech, is basically they're still operating as a normal business, taking in bottles. But what we would do is that in terms of their point system, we would be hoping for if they do often if they insert any type of bottles, they would be able to earn more points and redeem more rewards at the end. But by investing is that we could give them margins of a margin of the bottles that we're getting back as a type of bottles, so that our customers are able to earn more. For example, more discounts on Big C.
I want to take a step back and really analyze this 36 or 35% recycling rate. What are the top 1, 2, 3 reasons why it's so low in Thailand right now?
Okay, just only for the PET bottle, or you want me to walk through for the two products? Okay, first the PET bottle now, from the value itself, is quite low compared to the aluminum or the glass bottle.
So it's not worth it to recycle. You don't get so much money from it compared to other types.
Yes, and then also have high potential of leakage.
What do you mean high potential leakage?
They cannot create the system now to collect this, and okay, since it have low value, so it's not worth it.
Okay. Is it a collection point problem? You mentioned the informal economy, the selling and all of that, they already collected.
Yes.
So that's not really a problem, right? Because there's so many ways and channels to collect these materials. It's just it doesn't get recycled.
Yes, but what we're trying to do, we're trying to like set the system that we can collect it more. Because now, if we rely more on the informal sector deciding or something, so that can also like go to other supplier or maybe manufacturer, and then we also remain the same reachable rate in terms of the PET bottle.
But if your bottles get recycled nonetheless, that actually reduces your scope 3 emissions. It doesn't have to go back into Taipei as long as it goes somewhere and overall the whole country recycling rate goes up. All manufacturers benefit from that.
However, like from the research, but I do not have the evidence in the appendix, they also have like some of the plastic flake that's not gonna be in the recycle process. Like some of these scavenger or like when they sell into the junk shop or whatever, sometimes it's not 100% of all of them gonna go into the recycling process.
Okay.
So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to increase the volume of the recycling for the total sustainability in the country also.
Okay. Thank you.
To add on, my colleague is contributing.
Okay. Thank you once again, team. The results and feedback will be distributed via email within this week. Have a great rest of your day.